Judge me all you want, but I had no choice. I didn't even want to have it. I loved my husband, but love cannot feed and raise children. No matter how hard I tried, it was hard for me to pull the stroller by myself. My aunt's offer was impossible to refuse. From the beginning of my relationship with Derek, I was the one who worked more and earned more. At the time, I thought it didn't matter now. After all, women more and more often occupy better positions and earn more than their partners. Derek didn't mind either. I was glad that we create such a nice and harmonious relationship. A few years after the wedding, children appeared and the first major problems. As Derek's reluctance to work didn't bother me before, it started when the children appeared. I couldn't work at the current turnover, earn as before and take care of 2 small children. And Derek, used to a good standard of living, and at the same time not working too hard, did not even intend to think that now it might be his turn to take responsibility for us, his wife and 2 children. We argued more and more. I was tired of this state of affairs, and at the same time I had no idea what to do next. The worst thing, however, was that I still loved and still loved Derek. Everything was about to change with the return of my aunt from abroad. Aunt Sophia is our adopted aunt. They've been friends with my grandmother almost since birth. They have been through and survived a lot together. My aunt lived in Spain, where she made quite a fortune. However, she had no children, and her last husband had died a few years earlier, so she decided to return to her homeland in her old age. She didn't have an apartment here, she was just going to look around for something suitable for her. So I suggested that until she finds something for herself, let her live with us. Our house is big, so we can fit in easily. My aunt was glad that she would not be alone in those first weeks after her return and that we would help her. The first days were euphoric, constant visits of my aunt to the family or the family to my aunt. Looking for an apartment, watching. However, the gray reality set in. I had to go back to work. And so I have already devoted a large part of my vacation to my aunt. My aunt spent time in our house, so she saw more and more. She saw how much I work and how much Derek works. In fact, it hardly works. She heard our fights many times, during which I shouted to him that I had no strength to run a house, raise children and work hard, and that it was high time for him to get to work, and not lie in front of the TV drinking beer all the time. One day my aunt surprised me with an offer to talk, but she didn't want to have it at home. She asked us to go outside somewhere, to some cafe. I agreed. After work, we went to a coffee shop a bit away from our house to avoid prying eyes and then gossip. My aunt went straight to explaining why she had asked me to meet. She said that she has been living with us for some time, that she sees a lot, and that she has no children of her own. She would like her property to go to someone important to her. That person was supposed to be me. But the worst or the best came later. My aunt laid out clear rules and gave me an ultimatum. She will bequeath to me now, during her lifetime, the greater part of her estate, and the rest will be given to me after her death. We're not talking about $100,000 here, but $2 million. There's always a but. There was only one condition. I was going to leave my lazy husband. My aunt said she wouldn't support a freeloader. Shocking. I really couldn't believe what I was hearing. I got a flush on my face. I was nervous, But my aunt said I didn't have to make a decision right away, that she knew it was a serious decision. On the one hand, I was agitated, on the other hand, I felt pleasantly flattered that the aunt of the whole family had chosen me. I didn't even know who to talk to about this proposal. After 2 weeks of struggling and battling with my thoughts, watching Derek and our lives from the sidelines, I had made a decision. The only right one in my opinion. Having 2 children, in whose upbringing Derek was not involved at all, convinced me to make such a decision. I told my aunt about my decision and then informed Derek that we had to part ways. I cried, but I knew it was the best decision.